Hey everyone, this is David Kim from Korea Now with Who. There's a familiar face around Korean main streets and downtown restaurants. He's definitely not an idol, but store signs and street ads feature his face more than any other celebrity. Avid viewers of Korean TV have seen him practically everywhere.
Let aside mega-hit entertainment shows, he's even been summoned to the National Assembly hearings out of pure popularity and reputation to give his take about whether franchise restaurants are hurting small business restaurants or not. He is also well known to be a hardcore World of Warcraft gamer, and guess what? His ID was Rice Cook, and even inside the game, his profession was a cook.
When he opened his cooking YouTube channel, it only took him 3 days to gather 1 million subscribers, earning a gold play button.
This was all evidence on how friendly he is to the public and how many people wanted to learn his recipes. Most importantly, even superstar BTS has learned how to cook from this man.
So, who is this guy? Known as the CEO who cooks, Paik Jong Won is the biggest name in the restaurateur business in Korea, but that doesn't come close to describing who he really is.
He's like the Korean Gordon Ramsay. He has his own kitchen nightmare style TV shows where he saves failing restaurants. He's done a bunch of cooking shows and he owns many successful restaurants. As with Gordon Ramsay's fame, when you say celebrity chef, most Koreans would think of his name. But there are also huge differences. First, unbeknownst to most people, he doesn't like being called a chef. He strictly says he isn't a real chef, more a restaurateur or a recipe creator. But more importantly, as the owner of Korea's biggest restaurant franchise business, his restaurants are literally everywhere. They aren't 3 Michelin-starred restaurants, but it's safe to say most Koreans have had a taste of his recipe. Also, he never swears on TV.
A chubby, nicer, more down-to-earth version of Ramsay with a really interesting biography. So here's a little bit of his colorful life story.
As a freshman in college, Paik got a part-time job selling chicken at a pub, just for the free beer. Back then, chicken deliveries weren't really a thing yet, but anyone who knows how big the Korean chicken delivery business is would know how far he was ahead of his time when he suggested the service. Soon after, it was so successful, the workload became too much for the elderly owner, who decided to sell the business to Paik and retire. Even though he couldn't afford it, the owner told him to just pay her back in the future and handed him the keys.
By the time he began his junior year in university, he was running 3 stores, accumulating a fortune worth 1.5 billion won. These backstories show you how he's always had a knack for business, but surprisingly, the military is where he actually achieved both business and cooking sense.
Paik, who was always full of ideas, got a chance to be the kitchen manager for military executives. Surprisingly, Paik didn't know a thing about cooking at that time, so he spent a whole month only practicing knife skills and inventing new recipes. After that, he just pretended to be a master chef supervising others while he was actually learning how to cook by observing them cook. Learning how to manage a kitchen and budget military style, he saved so much budget enough to establish a new military executive restaurant and continued to invent hit menus among soldiers such as 뚝배기 kimchi stew and shrimp burgers.
At the end, the general even asked him to stay 1 more year in the military in a joking manner. After he was discharged from the military, he started restaurants of his own which were very successful at the start, but due to the economic crisis, Paik faces one of his life's greatest challenges, becoming bankrupt and in debt, where he got to the point of even considering to end his life.
What stopped him was when he decided to have a final meal, various business ideas about the restaurant entered his mind, and that was what eventually convinced him to come back home. After he overcame the crisis, he went on a winning streak, making all of his new recipes and inventions super famous. Thinly cut pork belly, beef plate called usamgyeop, square vegetable platters, a bulgogi designated grill, and more were extremely successful and caught the public's attention and taste. He then aggressively expanded his franchise restaurant business among a spectrum of meat, street food, sam, bibimbap, chicken, beer, noodles, Chinese food, coffee, and more.
Everyone loves his restaurants not because they are fancy or Michelin-level food, but rather because they are very affordable but never fail with taste.
He made his television debut in 2015 on My Little Television, which showcased his unique air of familiarity and outstanding ability, which eventually earned him the nickname Celebrity Chef. In 2017, Paik Jong Won received the SBS Entertainment Award, which is like the Emmys in Korea. Since then, he has had a successful series of TV shows like 한식 대첩, 백종원의 3대 천왕, 백종원의 푸드트럭, 백종원의 골목식당, and Street Food Fighter.
Now, he is known by many names, Housewife Paik, Sugar Boy, and Teacher Paik, for the astonishing number of home-cooked recipes he's created.
Thanks to him, cooking novices are able to succeed in making delicious home meals using his simple recipes. From his long list of successful TV shows, people also call him an entertainment genius. He has set himself apart from all the other Korean celebrity chefs with his really down-to-earth and fluffy personality.
With a flurry of new Paik-labeled restaurants hitting the Korean markets, his success story is expected to continue for a long time to come.
I am a very fortunate person who has made his hobby into a business. I make money doing something I love. What is most important in my life is to taste the recipes I have developed. It's a great pleasure to see satisfied customers.